Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the latest edition of Listen to Me. Today is Friday, December the 18th. And let me tell you something right now. We have got a plethora of boxing this weekend, and we've got a ton of stuff to go over. All right, first and foremost, today on the Zone at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a little bit odd of a time for a boxing card to begin, but it begins at 5 p.m. and it's in Hollywood, Florida. No fans in attendance, but it's in Hollywood, Florida. And the main event is Triple G versus Kamil Szeremeta. You say Szeremeta, I say Szeremeta, potato, patata, Szeremeta, Szeremeta. Either way, Kamil Szeremeta versus Triple G. Tonight, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The main event is set to take place around 8 p.m., but the card begins at 5 on the Zone. Now, there's a little bit of intrigue to this fight. Triple G's 38 years old, and in his last couple of performances, he has not quite looked his best. He really hasn't looked his best. He looks a little past it. And Kamil Szeremeta is undefeated. He's 21-0. He only has 5 knockouts, so he doesn't necessarily have the most power at a world level. However, he is a good boxer. He's the best boxer Poland has to offer at middleweight, pretty much unquestionably, being that he was the European champion from 2018 to 2019. Kamil Szeremeta is definitely a formidable opponent, and he does have the tools. He does have the tools to possibly outbox Triple G. Can he do it for 12 rounds? Can he do it for 12 rounds? For the middleweight title? I don't know. The question is, can Triple G get the stoppage? Or more importantly, the question is, can Kamil Szeremeta get the stoppage? Because in recent memory, you've got some guys that have taken on, some world-class name opponents, and they always seem to come up short on the cards. So even if Szeremeta kept it close, even if he did enough maybe to get a win, I don't think that with all the money and everything vested into Triple G, that Szeremeta is going to get any favors done on the card. So anything close is going to go Triple G's way. Think about Gabe Rosado and Daniel Jacobs a couple weeks ago. Daniel Jacobs looked awful. He looked flat, and he looked like he lost the fight, in my opinion. I thought Gabe did at least enough to get a draw. At least. And I honestly thought he won 7 rounds of that fight. I did. And I like Danny Jacobs. But Danny Jacobs is a bigger name, a bigger star, more important to the Zone going forward than Gabe Rosado, a guy with losses, in double digits. So, as per drawing power going forward, we know that the Zone has a lot vested in making this Canelo Triple G Part 3. That's what they want to do. So if there's a close fight with Kamil Szeremeta, potato patata, that's funny, but anyway, Kamil Szeremeta, if he comes close in this fight, Triple G's going to get awarded the victory. The question really is, can Szeremeta get the stoppage? No. So my pick is Triple G. Now the bigger question is, can Triple G get the stoppage? Because in the past, an opponent on the level of Szeremeta, Triple G would have got that guy out of there. He would have stopped him. He would have knocked him out. At 38 years old, and both of these guys are coming off of more than a year of inactivity. Both of them, Szeremeta and Triple G, both fought in October 2019. That's over a year ago. That's over 400 days ago. It's been a while since both of these gentlemen have been in the ring. So, there's a lot of intrigue there. And really the question is, can Triple G get the stoppage? Because he should. Based on his last performance, and based on the fact that Szeremeta doesn't seem like a guy who's, going to crumble at the first sign of some, trouble, at the first sign of some, punches coming back at him, I don't think Triple G is going to get the stoppage. I look for a victory from Triple G, and I think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to look great, to be perfectly honest. But I do see Triple G getting the victory by hook or by crook down in Florida today. Now, moving on, tomorrow we have a big fight. Canelo and Callum Smith. That is also on the Zone. Now, there's a big question in this fight, okay? And the question is, can Callum Smith stop Canelo Alvarez? And my answer to that question is no. My opinion, there is no chance in hell. a snowball's got a better chance in hell than Callum Smith has of stopping Canelo Alvarez. I don't see it happening, in my opinion. Tell me, prove me wrong, Callum Smith, and become great and become the next big thing. I would love to see it. But there's a lot of interesting components to this fight. First and foremost, Callum Smith's WBA super middleweight championship is on the line. His Ring Magazine championship is on the line. Now, the WBC super middleweight championship, which was vacated, lost by David Benavidez on the scales a couple months ago, out of irresponsibility, couldn't make the weight. You're a champion. You're supposed to make the weight. Now, that vacant title that David Benavidez left behind like a fool, not because of his unification, because of his weight. His one responsibility, make the weight. He wasn't fighting a guy that was really going to put up a lot of resistance. Couldn't even make the weight. Gimme fight, couldn't make the weight. It's a disgrace. Anyway, he left the belt on the table. Benavidez did. So that belt will be up for grabs between Smith and Alvarez as well. Now, there's a little controversy surrounding this, but the fact is the WBC likes to attach their name to money, right? That's why Canelo is the franchise champion. And that's why Callum Smith is the Diamond champion. Now, the Diamond Championship was awarded as part of the World Boxing Super Series that Callum Smith won, which afforded him the Ali Trophy and afforded him the Ring Magazine title as well. And along the way, he picked up the Diamond Championship because for whatever reason, the WBC, wasn't involved in that tournament, or they were, or someone pulled out, whatever the case was. The Diamond belt was on the line. So, albeit the Diamond Championship has its sanctioning fees that, Callum Smith has paid, and Canelo has the Franchise Championship, which has got some sanctioning fees, I'm sure. So, of course, those, that body, Mauricio Suleiman and his, politics and his money, wants to attach himself to the largest wagon possible, and that's Canelo Alvarez. Now, the question is here, can Canelo Alvarez stop Callum Smith? Because, let's be honest, I don't see Callum Smith winning a decision against Canelo Alvarez. And, the dirty Oscar cards are gone from Canelo because, he's not with Golden Boy anymore. But he is the biggest draw in boxing, and he is fighting on his own, and it is in their best interest to have Canelo win this fight. So I don't see, and again, I'm not saying that it has to happen this way or someone's sliding a judge an envelope or anything like that, but more than likely, if it's a close fight, and I don't even think it will be, Canelo will get a decision, and I don't think he'll ever lose a decision again in his career. And I've said that before. Many people have said that before, but Canelo losing a decision, probably not going to happen. I mean, you can take a look historically. Someone awarded him a draw in one of the judges in the fight against Mayweather. He didn't win one round. Maybe he won one or two if, maybe. But there's no way it was a draw. No way. I didn't see him winning one round. The first Triple G fight, there's no way Canelo won that fight, in my opinion. And I'm not the only one that thinks that way either. There's a couple of other fights that were close. That Canelo had cards that were definitely, awarded in his favor. I'm not going to say Lara or Trout or anyone else, but these are names that have been thrown up for close fights. Now, I do believe Canelo won those fights, but they were close. They were close. The Lara fight is very close. Could have been a draw. Very close fight. Regardless, Canelo's always awarded, an opportunity, to be the A side on the cards and get that benefit of the doubt. And I don't think this would be any different, but I don't see it going that far. I'm calling for this fight to be a 10th round knockout. I think Canelo is going to stop Callum Smith in the 10th round. Look, similar to the way he did to Kovalev, I know Smith's bigger. Kovalev was bigger. Kovalev's bigger than Smith as per stature. Maybe not height or reach, but stature and overall power of his jab. Kovalev had a powerful, powerful jab. Really, truly. I mean, he stopped Anthony Yarde with that jab right before he fought Canelo. Now, I think Canelo is going to beat up Smith to the body, and he's gonna land something upstairs that's going to stop Callum Smith in the 10th round. That's the way I see it. Now, moving on, I just have something to touch upon. Brian Kenny, all right? Pay attention to when he speaks on, when you watch your programming on the Zone or even the PBC, because the guy's all over programming, and I have no idea why, because he has got to be the worst commentator on boxing that I've ever heard. He's a liar. Brian Kenny is a liar, and I'll explain to you why. I'm not just going to throw some muck at someone. I'm going to explain to you why. Brian Kenny has called anyone from Danny Garcia, an undisputed champion at the weight, Mikey Garcia, an undisputed champion at the weight, Charlo, the undisputed junior middleweight champion, and who else? Leo Santa Cruz was an undisputed champion at the weight. All four of those guys that I just told you, you can take a look at the recent broadcasts that Brian Kenny has been on. He has called all four of those guys undisputed champions at weight classes they have touched in the past. That's a lie. None of those guys have ever been undisputed champion. Let me explain undisputed champion if you don't understand undisputed champion. There's a big difference between being a unified champion and being an undisputed champion. Okay? An undisputed champion is someone who has all four major sanctioning bodies titles, okay? The WBO, the IBF, the WBA, and the WBC. Four. All four. That's how you are. That's how you become that's how you become the undisputed champion. That's how you are recognized as the undisputed champion. Okay? You throw the Ring magazine in there, the lineage, that stuff's great. The undisputed championship is four major sanctioning bodies. You have all four belts. None of those guys had that. None of them had that. Okay? Charlo's got 3 belts. Okay? And some of those guys weren't even really unified champions. I don't really consider Callum Smith to be a unified champion at 168 pounds, although he has the WBA full version, the super title, and the Ring magazine title. I don't consider the Ring magazine title coupled with the WBO, the IBF, or the WBA, or the WBC any belt. I don't consider that just one title with an alphabet sanctioning bodies title. I don't consider that to be unified. Just as I don't consider the lineal champion and the WBO champion together being unified. To be a unified champion, you have to hold the IBF strap and the WBO strap, the WBA strap and the WBC strap, or any combination of those 4. That's how you are a true unified champion, with mandatory challengers that you have to meet and greet and either beat or get beat by or move on by hook or by crook, one way or the other. Okay, but you have mandatory challengers, and you've got to face them at the door, in the ring. That's the way it is, okay? The Ring magazine doesn't have mandatory challengers, okay? The lineal championship doesn't have mandatory challengers. They don't. They're awesome things to have. Those recognitions are great, and I'm not taking away from them. They don't have mandatories. Doesn't qualify as unified, okay? And Brian Kenny, I don't know how. I have no idea how. He gets on PBC, Fox, Showtime, he gets on The Zone, and he just lies through the screen. It's whoever Brian Kenny thinks was the authority at the weight at the time in his mind was the undisputed champion. It makes no sense. There's no parameters. The guy's a liar. And he's part of the problem with American boxing. Now, I'm going to move on to another problem in American boxing, okay? And that's, here in the United States, we have an Olympic gold medalist, Clarissa Shields, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, an undefeated, true undisputed champion. She is and was a true undisputed champion as a professional, middleweight. She can't even get someone to back her or promote her properly in the United States. Al Heyman wanted nothing to do with her. Nothing to do with her. Bob Arum apparently wants nothing to do with her because she's signed a contract to fight MMA. She signed an MMA contract. I don't know if it's 1 year training and then she's going to fight in 2022 or something, but she signed an MMA contract to fight mixed martial arts. It makes no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense to me. There's a big problem with promoting women's boxing in America. I mean, look at Michaela Mayer. Many people have touched upon this. She signed the Top Rank. Great. Who else is? Who's her opponent? She's calling out everyone on the DAZN side. And magically, Eddie Hearn has to be the one to pick up all these fights and take all his girls that he's got and put them in the ring with Top Ranks or anyone else. Girls fighting unattached. Girls fighting on smaller, promotional outfits, whether it be, Lou DiBella or main events or, whatever. Whatever, okay? Why does it fall on Eddie Hearn? I mean, he is the example. Look at the way he promotes Katie Taylor. Look at the way he promotes her. She wins, he gets out there, he talks to her, he cuts a better promo on Katie Taylor than anyone has cut on a boxer here in the United States, a promoter that I've heard in a while. He'll sit there and say how great she is now. She's worked so hard now. She's, just a revolution for women's boxing. And he's not lying. He's not lying because he's put her in a position to be successful time and time again. And he gets on the horn and he's vocal about it. Puts her on cards with, put her on AJ, cards with AJ in the past. He puts her in a position to be successful. In the United States, I don't see the same thing happening. And that's a large reason why, you see I'm wearing an Iron Mike Tyson t-shirt. He's still the biggest draw in American boxing, period. The numbers don't lie. 1.2 million pay-per-view buys. 1.2 million pay-per-view buys. And the PBC sits there and they blow their horn and say Errol Spence is their big draw, is one of their big draws, and he's a pay-per-view star for them. Errol Spence's last 3 pay-per-views, I believe it's only 3 pay-per-views, they didn't do 1.2 million buys in total. In total, an exhibition fight between 2 guys in their 50s with no official outcome did more pay-per-view buys than the PBC's biggest biggest pay-per-view star. The days of Deontay Wilder are over. Those days are over. He's not a champion. He's not going to have a belt. He's not a star. It's finished. That ship has sailed. He shot himself in the foot when he didn't take the DAZN deal for $100 million. And, the PBC shot that pony when they continuously put him in the ring with Luis Ortiz and they continuously put him in the ring with Tyson Fury. The Deontay Wilder ship has sailed. It's gone. It's over. He's not a pay-per-view star. It's finished. It's over. So their biggest current pay-per-view star right now is Errol Spence Jr. That's basically their biggest pay-per-view star right now. And guess what? His last 3 pay-per-views in total did not do what Mike Tyson did. Coming off over a decade of inactivity for an exhibition fight. It's crazy. And a big part of the problem in promoting in the United States of America is the women. Now, I'm going to give you an example. Inside of a ring, the way to do it. And I don't have to piggyback on what Eddie Hearn's been doing. And let me tell you, look at what he did with Natasha Jonas as well. She had a great fight with Terry DeBelta Harper, another fighter who Eddie Hearn's doing a great job promoting. And what does he do? In the Anthony Joshua fight, who I'd like to congratulate for beating the piss out of Kubrat Pulev. He beat him from pillar to post, embarrassed that guy. And he is the biggest marquee fighter in the world. He gets paid the most, and you don't make as much money fighting him. Anyone else as you do fighting him. AJ will get you the most money, and he makes the most money. He's the premier marquee heavyweight in the world, and that's not by mistake. Eddie Hearn designed that. He helped to design that. That's why he got $91 million in Saudi Arabia. That's why he fights in front of 90,000 people when there's crowds. And that's why he dominates guys that have no business being in the ring. Kubrat Pulev had no business being in the ring. Don't get me wrong. Kubrat Pulev's awesome fighter, great, world class, but he's well past it. He was a mandatory because he'd been beating guys he was supposed to beat since he lost to Vladimir Klitschko. All right? But Pulev, he was not on the same level as AJ. He wasn't, let's be honest. AJ knocked him down 4 times, and he got that guy out of there. It was truly something. Pulev turned around. There were times when he was getting hit that he looked like he got hit by a car. He was flailing around, getting beat. I mean, it was a good showing by AJ, and congratulations to him. But to go back to the women, okay? Look, you don't have to. It's not all on Eddie Hearn and how he's doing it, but he took Natasha Jonas and put her on the Anthony Joshua fight as commentary. He put her in a position to be successful, got her exposure. I don't see the American promoters doing that with women. I don't see them doing that. And there's an example in the United States of a promoter that already made something traditional in a ring that was not necessarily a forefront for women, and not necessarily where women would make the most money or be the most successful. They were usually part of, in the past, a quote-unquote sideshow with this business. And I'm talking about the professional wrestling business. And I'm talking about Vince McMahon, okay? But he made it successful. And it may be more Triple H, but whatever. Whoever's running the show over there with the WWE, what they have done with the women in the past decade is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. That's not a lie. And listen, believe me, I have some experience in professional wrestling. I have a little bit, and you don't even have to. Just look at the numbers. Okay, there was a time when the SmackDown show, WWE, if you don't know, I have two big shows, weekly shows, Raw and SmackDown. There was a time when SmackDown was really in trouble and they were teetering. The WWE brought out the WWE Divas, and they really brought them to the forefront, and they made a Divas program on, I believe, the E! Network, and it really brought all sorts of new viewership, this reality show on these girls living their everyday lives and, and training and traveling and with their boyfriends and whatnot. It brought a whole new viewership. All those girls that would watch the Kardashians and those kind of programs, those kind of reality-based shows, they started watching the Divas program, and that brought a new audience into wrestling. And there was a time that the Divas program itself, the reality show, was getting a better rating than WWE SmackDown, than The Rock's program, quote-unquote, The Rock's program. SmackDown was not getting as good of a rating as the WWE Divas program because SmackDown was teetering a little bit, and that Divas program was really on fire and was bringing a new viewership to boxing. To wrestling, to the ring, okay? And boxing can be done the same way. I'm not saying they have to have reality shows, although I would have loved to see Amanda Serrano on that reality show that she was supposed to be on Telemundo or whatever it was, that for whatever reason she didn't contractually, she didn't fulfill her obligations, or let the people at DAZN or Matchroom know what was going on. But things like that are good for for women, especially women, women's boxing. It will really bring it to the forefront. But there's other ways to do it, and the other ways Eddie Hearn has been doing it, having girls do commentary on fights that feature other fighters. It's a big thing, and not all girls can do commentary, but a lot of women can, and they're capable, and some of them are definitely camera friendly, and they definitely can quote unquote dial it up and present themselves well. And again, Natasha Jonas, prime example. She looked great, she looked classy, and she was well spoken, and they used her perfectly, and they got her more exposure. They need to be doing more on that in the United States of America when it comes to boxing, and there's plenty of ways to do it. And look, if Bob Arum is too old to do it, because he's 90 years old and he's too old-fashioned, and and Al Heyman just has no interest, and the PBC just, for lack of a better term, they're on an island and they suck. And and listen, I watch all boxing. I watched Ring City Fight City, Ring City USA on NBC Sports. It was great. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed the program. Again, it's not exactly Spence versus Crawford, but I love it. I love boxing, and I watch all PBC, but I don't like how they promote their guys. I don't like the island policy, and take a look at Caleb Plant. Twice he turned down a Canelo fight. Who turns down a Canelo fight? Twice? The money by itself, but you're a champion at the weight. It's the biggest fight you could have. He turned it down twice. That's just the most recent example I can think of. But the PBC is not going to promote the women. I have an idea on someone who can promote the women, and this is a shout out to Snoop. Again, at the Mike Tyson event, Snoop was doing commentary. It was great. It was one of the best parts of the show, and he has voiced an interest in promoting boxing. Well, if Bob Arum's not going to promote it in the United States, and neither are the PBC, and Matchroom can only do so much, Snoop, Snoop, you know the value of women. You do. You know the value of women. You know how important they are in society, in marketing, and as a demographic. You do. You understand it. I mean, Snoop has been, in the entertainment business since the 90s. You know what I mean? So he knows what he's doing. To be a rapper, a singer, musician, and entertainer, to cross over into films, to cross over into comedies, and to really be, a world star, one of the biggest stars in the world. You know the value of women and the value of that demographic, okay? And believe me, I believe if there is someone that could do it, who's got, if he's serious about promoting boxing, which he said he is, women could be the component that could really put him over the top, and Clarissa Shields is who we should go see right away. Because the fact that Clarissa Shields is, fighting in an octagon is a disgrace to American boxing. It truly is. It's a disgrace to American boxing. Look at what Eddie Hearn has done with his Olympic gold medalist over there, Katie Taylor. He's brought her to basically one of the greatest women boxers in the history of women's boxing. He's changed the face of women's boxing. Look at what he's done with Terry Harper. Taking her to the forefront. I think Terry Harper, has grown so much over the past 2 years. It's, financially, what she's getting paid per fight, how she performs, and all that. Eddie Hearn's got his hand in that. He can see it. The bottom line is this. Anyone outside of the United States is being promoted better than the promoters are doing for the best girls here in the United States. What's going on with Heather Hardy? There's another example of someone who's not being promoted properly in the United States. I mean, I heard in an interview recently that, the president of the Barclays Center was, telling, Al Heyman, you got to sign this girl. She's been selling the place out. She moves tickets. She moves the needle. She's great. She's a nice person. The whole 9 yards. And Al Heyman, I got no interest in women. Next. Blew it off like it was, like a flake of dandruff. And that's a disgrace. That's a disgrace. There's a lot, listen, there's a lot of girls in the United States that need to be promoted, and the fact that it's not being done is definitely, brought to light by the fact that the biggest star, one of the best pound-for-pound boxers in the world, Clarissa Shields, an two-time Olympic gold medalist, undisputed champion, multi-weight division world champion as a professional, an real undisputed champion as a professional. No one's signing her. No one's promoting her. No one wants to pay her. No one wants to take this star and push her forward. No one's picking up the ball in the United States. And, if Snoop, you're going to promote boxing, that's something that could definitely help you out. But, Dreamers in Dreamland, thank you so much. I love each and every one of you, but not nearly equal. And, until we meet again, enjoy boxing this weekend. And remember, when you listen to that commentary, Brian Kenny is a liar. I'll see you again, Dreamers of Dreamland. Peace.